Hey Emma, welcome to the podcast. So I'm going to get you to quickly introduce yourself. You can do it to that camera quickly.
I've seen this before. Hey guys, I'm Emma. Anything specific that I say?
Where did you come from? What did you do?
I'm from a small town, originally from Whakatane, moved up to Auckland, so that's kind of my story. I grew up on a farm that had pretty much no internet, and I was a kid that was addicted to the internet.
Funny.
So maybe it's that kind of juxtaposition. I'd use the school Wi-Fi or like public hotspots to download my YouTube videos for the week. And I've just kind of been obsessed with content and content creators ever since I was a kid.
That's cool.
And now I finally made the leap to try it out and become one myself.
That's awesome. And we're obviously going to get into your creator journey, but the thing I noticed when you walked in here, and literally like the 20 minutes before this podcast started, is all been on like tech. Like you just like geeked out on the Sony's. Like you talked about all the stuff. And this is the first time we've had that, in any of them. No one's ever done that ever.
Nah,
and I think that's like, that highlights something there. And then to what you just said, how you're like small town girl, loved internet, loved all the stuff.
I'm a big internet nerd. Yeah.
Like, tell me about that. Like where did that interest start from?
I don't know. I guess like none of my siblings are really too much into the internet or internet culture. I think it was really the fact that I couldn't have it. And so when I was at like school, I'd be like researching and I was super into YouTube when YouTube was coming up. And I would just like watch endless YouTube content as much as I could, like in the back office of my dad's work when I was there for hours. Watching creators kind of like from the ground up before content creation was even a big thing. And I was just so fascinated by video content creation and what they could do just completely by themselves. I was really fascinated by that.
And you talked about the Sonys. Why Sonys? What brought you into the Sony world?
Because they're for video.
Video.
They're like one of the the big three, but then Sony's like known for video. And I was always like, I did photography in high school, but I was never really into photography. I was more so into video content because I loved YouTube so much.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. No, that's cool. I think it's actually a real interesting point, and we don't have to spend too long in here, but like we said, like, I don't know, what are we up to now? 17 or something episodes done and talked to creators, and no one's ever geeked out on the tech, and no one's even cared. And actually, when you talk to them, it's not like they don't think that way either. They just think story and that's it. And not that you don't, but that's all they think. So it's quite interesting to like have someone, because like for us, like I mean for Connor, especially in our team, all the videographers, like it's cameras first. Well, not necessarily cameras first, but like, hey, like he's used to using cameras and like actually going down to like Joni walking in and only being able to do anything on a phone is so funny. Like she's like the proper creator.
I've tried to edit on my phone and I just, it's so slow.
Joni hates editing on a computer. Slow. Like hates editing. But I reckon almost every creator, I couldn't tell you one, I think off the top of my head, who would edit on a computer,
Oh.
Do you reckon
there's
got to be more.
No, the ones that we've hidden.
Oh, the ones we've hidden.
Nah. None of those guys. They're all phone editors.
All phone,
all phone editors.
I've tried because I love the idea of like sitting on the train and just getting all my editing done, but it's too slow for me because I've learned all it on my desktop. So.
What do you use on desktop?
I use Final Cut Pro.
Okay, cool.
So Apple ecosystem is fantastic. When you have an iPhone, you can just airdrop everything in minutes. And for me, that's the fastest way to get a video out.
Nice. And are you editing on MacBooks or something like that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I have an iMac.
Invested
in one. A nice little green one.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. The new M1s.
Yeah.
How is that actually? This is taking a random turn on this thing. No, because like,
I'm a food content creator, but let's talk about...
Yeah, this is the tech one. This is
tech podcast.
This is Stanley Tech Tip. I thought they were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why iMacs?
I never had a desktop computer before, and I already had a laptop.
Yeah.
And I was looking for something that had better processing power and something that would get me off my bed and onto a desk.
Yeah.
And they had the M1 chip, so I was like,
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And it was affordable enough.
Yeah.
Like
they were really
the actual
affordable.
Big beasts that are good for video editing, I'm like, okay, that's not really affordable. So
no, they're not. We so totally transparent, if you haven't already watched all my stuff, I hate Apple products.
Yeah.
And this is probably the one Apple product that I actually love using.
But the ecosystem with AirDrop is everything.
But so does the Samsung, and that has it too.
Yeah,
so they do have it. Like my Google, everything on this Samsung is already on my PC, instantly synced. So you don't even have
full
to
quality?
AirDrop it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a shared drive. It's just Google Drive. But we bought the guys. What did you get? A Mac Studio. So we bought the guys Mac Studios because But you know what the funniest thing is? The reason I did it was half the price of an equivalent PC.
No way.
The Mac Studios were
I thought you were
free
going to say you did it to keep your employees happy.
Nah, I
And
couldn't
the
have-
complaints. There was a lot of complaints.
There was a lot
Especially
of
from
complaints,
old dog,
especially
Nate.
from you,
Yeah.
Oh, me in the
You.
start, but then I gave up.
Connor. Just whinged
Nate, keep
all
going.
the time.
Yeah.
I got what I wanted in the
I
end.
don't know if
Yeah.
you could like force me to go back to Windows after being on Apple for so long.
I literally did it. I saved $8,000.
That's awesome.
I was like, so,
Sweet.
and then he gets that I don't have to fucking listen to it. And you know what? You know what happened the first couple of days?
Yeah.
He was whinging about shit.
It's because I needed a laptop.
He whinged
Yeah.
about stuff. Oh, I don't have a fucking
Yeah,
laptop. I don't
yeah,
have this.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
get on. It's okay, cool. That was a random intro to the Stan's Planning podcast. But that's great because actually I think it's quite interesting. It's an interesting concept because it's not something we've had before. What I do want to actually get into, where I
Sure.
was going to start,
Yeah.
is where did it start? You kind of touched on it just before, like you made the leap to start doing it
Yeah.
permanently.
Yes.
Tell me, how did that happen?
So, as you know,
Yeah.
a big YouTube fangirl.
Yeah.
Like, so I love content. I always did like little like vlogs on the side of like just holidays, and I love creating video content. And in uni, I was doing comms, so I was doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
cool.
Really wanted to get into advertising, and so
Mhm.
that was kind of the career trajectory for me.
Yeah.
And my sister at the time, my older sister, she worked for like the biggest organic company
Okay.
for food production
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Auckland, and she was like, we need social media content.
Mm.
We need like videos, like recipe videos. Do you reckon you could do that? And I'm like, I'm not actually like a chef or like a recipe person, but I
Yeah.
love tasty videos. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
back in the day, the classic top down. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can film one of those.
Yeah.
And so I did that as like a side hustle during
Cool.
uni, and
Awesome.
I loved it. I was like, this
How
is
long ago was
great.
that?
5 years ago.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool.
with my old camera,
Yeah.
rocking up to the boss's house, and we just filmed recipe videos together. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is cool. And that maybe kind of led to
Yeah.
the style of content that I do now.
Yeah.
I always knew one day like I should give it a go. Like
Yeah.
just creating content with my own name on it.
Yeah.
And I was for a long time picking my niche,
Yeah.
like, because that's what you do, right? You start with a niche and
Yeah.
then you can branch out later.
Yeah.
And I was like super into budgeting and saving up for my house. So I was
Okay.
like, okay, I can't start becoming this lifestyle person that like does interesting things every day because I can't afford to do interesting things every day.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I always do? I always cook.
Yeah.
And I actually have a good repertoire of good like meals that I make every
Cool.
single day because I do cook for myself every single meal
Yeah.
that I make.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think this will be interesting to people. And at the same time, I keep getting messages from like friends who are like just starting their journey, like
Yeah.
living away from home.
Cool.
And they're like, Emma, because I'm the only one they know that like cooks every night
Yeah,
or
oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, flats for myself. And they're like, how do you do it? What's like some budget recipe ideas that I can cook? What are you cooking tonight? What should I buy? Like, can you share me like your receipt of your grocery list? Because
Yeah.
I have no idea what to buy at the supermarket.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, okay, sure, I'll send you all these. I was trying to find videos online to give them.
Yeah.
And I was like, like if you search budget recipes, it's all like either from the UK, from the US, and they're like, use tomatoes. And I'm like, tomatoes are really expensive. You
Yeah.
know, like they're not in season
Yeah.
with New Zealand.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that and I was like, oh, actually, like
Yeah.
no one's doing this in New Zealand really. And I could do this and I could just send the videos to my friends instead and be like, this is what I'm making. This is how much it costs. You should make it. It's cheap and
Yeah.
it's using in season stuff in
Yeah.
New Zealand.
And when was that? When did that start? Because that was a bit after you first did the other videos.
Yeah. So I kind of set myself a little goal.
Okay.
So I started, last year? So last January.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for a year and a bit
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I literally, like 1st of January, decided to like, I made heaps of content the months before so
Okay.
that I would have like batched,
Yeah.
like ready to launch.
Cool.
And yeah, started on that date
Yeah.
and then set it out and just was like, let's see how we go. Do you
Yeah,
reckon we
yeah,
can
yeah.
get like, 200 followers
Yeah,
in a year
nice.
maybe? I don't know. I had no idea what goals to set for myself, but I know that growing an audience from scratch is difficult.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's try it and
Yeah.
see.
And what platform was first?
I did TikTok and Instagram same time.
Okay, TikTok.
Yeah,
Instagram,
because
same
Reels
time.
were already available.
Yeah,
I knew it. I
yeah,
was like, yep,
cool.
sweet, can repurpose content on both. Let's try
And that's
it.
what you did, just purely repurposing, or did you do a strategy for each?
I did. My objective was to have as much content, and most of my content worked on both. So
Cool,
there's
perfect.
only a few things that I posted on one or the other.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now talk to me about the beginning then.
Mm-hmm.
So Jan 2022, you went to launch. Tell me about the months or whatever leading up, making all that batching content and planning that. Tell me about that strategy. Like, what was it? How did you figure that out? What did you do?
I'm a big fan of Notion.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I had
Love
my
it.
little Notion slide,
Yep.
collected all the video ideas, and I had like lists and lists of video ideas because my brain has been absorbing content for years. So I'm like, yep, I've got this.
Yeah.
So many videos I want to make. And then I just started like each weekend when I had some spare time, made one video, and then I was like, edit, save, ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was so you have the content ideas, you have the Notion and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Planning usernames, planning
What's
what are
all
my
that?
different content pillars going to be?
what was that? Can you share some of that stuff? Like, how did you strategize that out? What did you come up with?
So I wanted to do, like, I knew that I wanted to have a series around budget.
Yep.
Like, because I knew that that would be quite topical and that's what my friends were interested in. And so I knew that I was going to have like a budget meal prepping kind of series.
Yeah, cool.
I was calorie counting at the time and that was really trendy. And I was like, okay, cool. We can do a little bit around that.
Cool.
Oats were super trendy with like baked oats using air fryer and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll have like a layer of like TikTok trending
TikToks,
recipes that I would do.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to share my grocery hauls.
Yep.
Because everyone that I tell how much I spend on groceries was like, what? Is that how much you spend? Like, I spend way more than that. And I'm like, no, literally, this is a fine art. I've finessed it since uni. Like, you can like
Stretch
get really
a
cheap
dollar.
groceries. Yeah.
Where did that come from at uni? Like that?
I was
budget?
terrified. So I, like, from small town Whakatane at 18, left the house, uni, buying groceries for the first time. I was like, I'm going to waste all my money. I've been because I saved for uni, right? So that I could make it to come up here. And I was like, I'm going to buy limes when they're not cheap and I'm not going to know what it is for a fruit to be cheap. So I kind of just like completely analyzed it and was like testing and learning with my groceries. And back then it was $50 a week.
Yeah.
Which was real cool.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And now it's $70 a week.
Full
for just
groceries.
myself. Yeah.
That is, I mean,
yeah.
When I was, so in 2008, I love this because, in 2008, I was living in the Gold Coast and it was my cousin and my brother were living with me. We ended up being homeless for a bit because we were dumb. We moved to Gold Coast in March.
With not many savings?
Oh, we didn't have much, but I got a job pretty fast and all that.
Cool.
But the thing is, we rented an apartment and we got it for 6 months. Real easy. It was a great apartment and it was quite cheap. And we're like, sweet, this is easy. We went to go renew and the guy's like, no, we're not renewing. I'm like, wait, why not? And he's like, because it's Indy. The Indianapolis is on. Like, you're right on the strip of the Indianapolis. Like, we're going to sell that for like $2,000 a night, every single night for 2 weeks. And I was like, what? So they kicked us out. Damn. But we didn't even we didn't even think that we're going to have to find somewhere else. And then because it's Indy, no one's renting. And so like we couldn't get a place at all. So we ended up living in like what we used to call Hotel Magna, which is like, but at the same time, the global financial crisis was kicking in. Yeah, so all the Japanese stopped traveling as tourists. All this, my brother, my cousin got laid off at the same time. And so it was just my salary. I was fine. I was in hotels and Indy was on. So it was busy as shit and it was heaps of money. But, not heaps of money, but like heaps of work.
Yeah.
But I had to feed 3 grown men. And
that's rough.
And we're all islanders. And you've seen Cuzzy, bro. Like, he's a big guy. Like we're 3 big men. And I was like, nah, I haven't got money for this shit.
Yeah.
We're going budget. And I remember I could feed all 3 of us on $100 a week in Australia. And we had to cook it because we were homeless for 6 weeks on the barbecues.
Out on the parks.
On the beaches in Gold Coast. Bro, that's how we had to live. And like, it was rough. Like, it was a rough time. I was young, but like, it was a rough time. But like, I still, some of our best memories, but it was rough. But we used to get like a big bag of 5 kg rice.
Yeah.
So we always had rice. So always cooked rice. And then.
So we're cooking rice on the barbecues outside.
But I just got a pot from this, the like,
that
lifelines
sounds like
or
such
whatever.
an adventure. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Just like lifeline, like pots, electric things. Doing all the rice, and then we get like chicken wings.
Yeah.
Because you can get them from the butcher. You get a 5 kg bag for like $10.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, we'd just pour like a kg or 2 of chicken wings and cook those. Because it's the cheapest meat $2 ratio
Yeah.
was chicken wings.
I love that you've done that math as well.
Bro,
Like, yeah.
100%. And rice was the most carbohydrates, like calories per dollar.
Yes.
It's cheaper than potato and bread and all
And
that sort
pasta,
of stuff.
yeah.
And pasta. So
Yeah.
rice is the cheapest,
It's
especially
just-
when you buy the biggest bags. So that was also like $100, like 3 grown men. And for veggies, because you could cook some veggies, but I was real worried about us getting
Yeah,
like
not
sick,
enough
like not
nutrients.
enough
Yeah.
nutrients. So I don't know if this was in hindsight, this is so stupid. But I was buying V8 juice, and I was like, bro, guys, you just got to drink it.
No,
You
to
gotta
be
drink
honest, I love that juice.
You got to just drink a cup a day. Like we got to stay healthy. And I bought these hot mighty multivitamins. And I was like, because I was like, bro, like we're living in a car for 6 weeks. Like we need to. And then like I cracked it at one point.
Yeah.
And I was like I'm just going to get a place. Because like the problem was I couldn't afford to get us all 3 a place on my one thing.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't pay rent for 3 of us.
And they probably wouldn't like sign you on with just one.
Yeah. So I ended up finding a room, and it was just so good that the guy lived there. My little brother ended up finding a place to live. I found a place to live, and then the guy had a garage, and he was like, "Oh, does your cousin just want to live in the garage? Like, there's a bed in there and all sorts of stuff." So that was sweet. So I think we ended up fine, but yeah, shopping cheap can be done, but people just don't want to do it. I don't do it anymore. I'm just gonna be transparent as fuck right here.
Yeah, like the $50 to $70
Connor
for me.
knows, like I ball out as much as I can.
He's getting me dinner tonight because I'm hanging around.
And me.
Nice.
Wait, when did that happen?
Thank you for working on a Friday afternoon. I'm sorry. This was the
Yeah.
only time I was available.
They got we're painting a fridge. You would have walked past.
I saw it, yeah.
And so
That's
Kate
exciting.
was in here yesterday, and actually she's got some content like yours, which is quite interesting. Hey, do you know her, Kate Ritchie?
I know.
Do you know
but I
her?
will definitely check her out after this.
Yeah. So you should. It's pretty similar.
But I feel like I've seen the fridge like painted video, so I'm like,
her
this is probably
viral one.
hers. Yeah.
25 mil one.
Yeah,
It's crazy. That's why we did. That's how it
That's
ended
cool.
up. But yeah, anyway, that went
Yeah.
on a tangent. But I love that. Tell me, so you started last year.
Yep.
Where are you now in terms of like lifestyle? Like, is this like a full-time thing? Is this
Side
like
hustle.
side hustle
Side
still? Like,
hustle,
where are
yeah.
you at? Like, tell me where your current situation is. Is it just like work? What are you doing? How do you sustain this?
Yeah. Well, I work full time,
Yep.
so this is just a weekend
Cool.
thing for me.
Okay.
And it's a good side hustle.
Cool,
So,
perfect.
yeah.
And you want it to grow into the long-term thing, obviously, because you're like a
Oh,
YouTube fiend, or you
like-
love your job.
I love security of
Yeah.
a full time
Yeah,
salary job.
yeah.
But I have I got time.
Yeah.
I always got time to make content, and I'm not one of the people that make 3 videos a week.
No.
So I'm like very comfortable with like it growing slowly and
What
keep
is the
making
job?
content.
What's the full
My day job?
Yeah,
I work in digital marketing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And so what
Yeah.
role, what do you do? Do you make content?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
you're
it's
doing it anyway.
all the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
It all aligns.
Yeah, no. And are you making this sort of stuff?
No.
No.
Nah.
What sort of stuff? Ad stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you an agency?
No,
Or-
in house.
No, sorry. Oh, you're in house.
Yeah, I'm in
cool.
house, but run all the ads on Facebook and Meta and stuff.
Cool.
So real big
So you're doing
insights crossing over.
So you're doing creative and ads.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's real good. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
There's not a
exciting
lot
because when I was like in high school, I was like, okay, my goal, I want to do like marketing or ads. Like I loved watching TV ads, and I was just like, I want to make the world not suck as much when it comes to ads, and I don't want boring ads because they suck, and ads can be fun.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my mission. And then as I grew older, social media evolved, and suddenly ads look different now, and now ads live on social media, and I'm like, this is cool. This is like YouTube content, kind of, but yeah.
But it's different, right? It's all changed now.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever predict when you're like in high school, like your dream job doesn't exist yet most of the time.
My mum still doesn't even really understand how like she's like, wait, LinkedIn? Like, how do you build business?
How did you
on
get
LinkedIn?
into agency from like hotel business?
Oh, I completely randomly fell into it.
Yeah?
So I learned LinkedIn. Like you, I consumed.
Yeah.
This is actually like a good point. Like for people who get invested into worlds, is like I consumed lots.
Yes, cool.
Whenever you know people who are real good at
On
this
what
stuff,
platform was your favorite?
YouTube.
YouTube? Yeah.
All day.
Cool. Yeah.
It's still where I consume the most. I only watch
I've
lots
switched
of
to TikTok.
Oh, only reason I watch
YouTube, like, because you can see your analytics on your phone, and
Yeah.
it used to be hours of YouTube, and now it's hours of TikTok. And I'm like,
Oh.
wow, guess it's changed.
the only reason I spend time on TikTok is for work.
Yeah,
I don't. I love TikTok. I love TikTok.
Yeah.
But
You're a long form content guy?
I love YouTube.
Yeah, cool.
And I watch shorts and TikTok heaps, but I'm usually in there like researching, like because I'm as soon as I see a video I like
I'm always
hit on the
scrolling, and then I'm
person.
like, this counts as research, right?
Yeah. I barely get through scrolls. Like as soon as I find something that's interesting, whatever it is, I'll save it. I'll go into that and I'll deep dive. I'll just go through everything and I'll find out where things go. But I lucked into agency life. Like, got into LinkedIn because I used it in hotels and then made content, and that took off. People started asking me to do it for them from a personal brand perspective.
That makes sense.
And that's where I was. So I moved back to New Zealand not knowing what I was going to do.
Yeah. So did you start off kind of freelancing, helping people with their LinkedIn
Never
profiles?
really freelancing. I wouldn't say it was freelancing at all. Because I consumed lots, and then I moved to New Zealand and I used LinkedIn to meet people.
Yeah.
And then lockdown happened, and people were like, Stan, I want that thing that you do for yourself. Can you teach us? And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to teach you. Like, I don't want to be a coach, another fucking LinkedIn coach. Yeah. So I became like there's so many LinkedIn coaches out there. You know who you're talking about you. Like, I hate LinkedIn coaching.
I think they're LinkedIn influencers now.
Oh, that's not even it. LinkedIn influencers are fine.
Okay.
LinkedIn coaches are people who go on YouTube and learn how to use LinkedIn and then pay people for the knowledge that they found on YouTube. Yeah. Mine was about executing for people. And that's what we always do. We always talk about, we don't sell knowledge, we sell execution. And so that just started from there, snowballed. Like, in lockdown, it snowballed from there, and then we got to this, and then TikTok came in, and now we're doing YouTube.
That's awesome. Now you got an amazing office.
Yeah, and it just all blew out of that.
That's cool.
What I was going to ask, though, is do you talk about where you work?
Nah.
You don't want to talk about where you work? No, that's fine. But when you're doing creative for them, do you treat it the same way you treat this, or do you take a different approach for the business?
It's different because it's mainly ads, not organic.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really fun because I get to explore. I almost get to prove that I'm good at organic.
Yeah.
In doing this. Yeah.
Do you this is interesting. I'm going to stick on this for a little bit.
Sure.
When you say I'm doing ads, is without giving us too much away, is it product or service that they're selling?
Product.
Okay. And are they consumable products, or are they FMCG, like fast moving goods?
It's for FMCG.
Okay, cool. So when you say you're making ads, where are you putting them?
On social media. And
all social media? No, that's what I mean. Like, which social? All of them?
Yep.
Facebook, Instagram,
yep.
YouTube?
We've even tried Pinterest. Yeah, we do YouTube.
Pinterest as well? Yeah. Yep. And TikTok. And
recently, yeah.
So tell me, when you think of the difference between that creative and this creative, what's the difference for you?
The difference is that people are more happy to watch organic for longer. So you can kind of build a different narrative. Whereas with paid, max you're going to get 3 seconds. And so you have to kind of you have to craft the story for those that will listen for longer and also capture all the people that will scroll past in 3 seconds so that the branding is still there. Yeah. And that's the difference, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Interesting. And with your pieces of creative, on average, how long do you think they are for ads?
Oh, it's
real dependent?
Anything. It depends on the idea.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But you've always got like a 3-second bit to go.
It's always do we have the tick off as the branding in the first 3 seconds? And I kind of add that to when I do paid deals for this, just because of that knowledge. I'll sprinkle that in there, make sure their logos or their products in the first 3 seconds, so they'll be happy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And then when you're doing these ads and stuff, is it all performance? Is it all conversion? Is that what you're trying to do? You're just trying to get sales from them?
Oh, you mean for the ads?
Yeah, for the ads, for your work.
For my work, it's a mix. Okay. It's a mix of top funnel, bottom funnel. It depends on the strategy for the brand.
Change the ad? Top funnel and bottom funnel?
I guess like awareness ads are more around like a new product or getting that product out there to as many people as possible. It changes the way that you set it up in the back end. Whereas bottom of the funnel is more for the people that are loyalists to the product and they're consuming it. So it's like more information around the product and engaging the community that consumes it.
Yeah. Interesting. I find it real interesting talking to people in that world, and the reason being is like we obviously do some of that work in ads and stuff like that, and whenever a client comes to us with ads, we we have like a real different philosophy on it.
Oh yeah, I
And-
know. I've been watching
Yeah.
you guys since the beginning. I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it. You guys are so much more focused on engagement than awareness, which is
Exactly.
no other agency is doing that. I feel.
No, they're not really.
Yeah.
Because it's so driven by
It's
sales.
all about CPM,
Yeah.
getting that cost down, getting the branding up, getting it to as many Kiwis as possible. Whereas,
Exactly.
yeah,
And like we just like to have this idea
yours
of
is
like,
more about attention.
well, that's it. And it's more about like we kind of think that like if you can get people to I actually think if your content performs organic, that's the best ad. The best possible ad.
Oh yeah,
And so like I don't know if you
because an organic view is worth so much more than a paid view.
so much. Yeah, but even putting money behind it if it's gone well organic and then putting money behind it but I would like to talk about that because I think it's quite interesting because you then make ads for your own brand.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's interesting for creators who are doing ads because you work in the ad space. So you're obviously going to make pretty good ads. Like that one there, the third one you're holding the $10.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
I saw that one. It was on my free page.
Yeah, that is outrageous
Yeah.
at 824,000 for the size of her audience. Like, and
Oh, that one was boosted by the brand.
oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
going to
just so
say.
you know,
I was
just-
going to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
I was going
yeah.
to say because the
That was a
engagement's
spark
still really
ad.
high.
But the engagement's still high,
Yeah,
which I'm proud of.
which makes it okay.
Yeah.
And I think so. Tell me about that. Like, tell me about the process of making this. Like, how did you decide? Like, what was the process for making something like this? Like, how do you strategize this out?
I guess so. For a lot of the brand deals that I get, they have quite specific briefs.
Yeah.
And so I'm very much a people pleaser. So I will just try and deliver to the brief as much as I can whilst keeping it in aligned with content that makes sense for my channel.
Yeah.
And I'm quite fortunate that fortunate or planned strategically that I make content in a space in which the brands that reach out to me, it's food, which is really easy. So I can create a piece of content around that.
Yeah.
So their brief was to create a budget-friendly meal, a budget-friendly dinner that spoke to the everyday low price range. And so I was like, sweet. So I went through their entire website of the everyday low price products, and I was like, okay, what meal can I put together with this? And I did all the math so that I could get the price per meal.
Yeah.
And then worked it out, and then I was like, okay, I know that it's going to be good to get footage at the store, and you'll be able to get more branding in that way because the actual products aren't New World products. And so went out, filmed it, dragged my partner to help me film it in the beginning. I was like, sorry, but I'll treat you out to a nice dinner.
I love it.
Made it, edited it. It's quite similar to the rest of the content I do that video.
And that's what I was wanting to say because like we had like Tūranga when he was talking about some of his stuff, and even when we talked to him a bit off camera, he was saying how he real struggles with ads because the style of content he makes and it's so hard. And so do you think that that's like if someone's wanting to do this more, that's if you were to redo this again, do you think that's the way? Just make content ads will want to or brands will want to make ads with?
Yeah, so I guess because this podcast is mainly for people that are looking to create content and potentially make money creating content. It is, and it's the advice I give to my friends who are like, I want to be a content creator too. I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you want to do? And it's like, ooh, that doesn't sound brand safe. So it is some things to take into consideration because I think about this all the time. Like when I was strategizing my account, I was like, oh, a lot of TikTok is like trending audios, for example, or there's this amazing guy that does cooking videos to music. And I was like, oh, I love this content. But then like, if that is the content that constantly goes viral for you, or if the content that does go viral for you isn't really adaptable for ads, then you're kind of like you'll still get ad deals, but they won't perform. Because they'll be so different to the rest of your content, and then you're like, you might get not repeat clients, I guess, in that aspect. So it is something to think about. If that is your purpose, if your purpose is to grow and become viral and be as big as possible, you can do whatever you think is the most engaging for an audience. But
and I think that that's actually a real interesting point because like anyone who just wants to go viral, they actually want to go viral because they want to make money. They they do. There's very few. There's very few who go viral.
It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort to maintain an account. And if you're doing it for the love of it, I mean, go you. But,
and it's not necessarily like you got to make money to be stupidly rich. But if you really want to go viral, make lots of videos all the time, like you say, to maintain that, it's time. And you need to do it full time. And so to do it full time, you need brand deals. And like I've said that to Joni before, like you're not going to get brand deals as often because you talk about pissing on your partner. Like you're not getting brand deals.
Just do that video and make sure that there's 5 videos after that so that it's
that
never
was
the
the
most
thing.
recent video someone finds.
Sorry, did I just pull that, this is the thing. That video sat with no new videos for like 10 days. And at the time that is, the 1NZ deal started.
Oh, that's
and
hilarious.
we went and met. And then Kimberly, who we work with, who's amazing and was fine with it all, showed Joni's profile to her bosses. And they're all like, wait, what? Like these people? You want them to make our content?
I was thinking about that because you, with all the attention seeker content, you also tag your employees in all the videos, which I reckon is awesome. But that's also quite do you consider the risk of like, I guess, do you have it in your like employee contract? Be like, we're going to tag you in content, but don't make any bad content.
So we don't have people who will make stupid content.
Okay,
that
cool.
is stuff that we wouldn't be okay with. Like, I don't mind Joni's content. Like, I didn't mind it. No. But what was funny about it is that it was right at the time of this thing. Like, for me, I'm just like, you're a weirdo, Joni, that you make this sort of stuff anyway, and like a bit too much information. But I think that if we had a staff member who went off and did stuff that was like, things that didn't align with our values or ethics, that they would probably be gone. They probably wouldn't have got through the interview process. Our interview process is super robust. Like, we do a group interview, they do an interview of the team, they do an interview of us. We social media stalk the shit out of them. Yeah. And like, we look into it, and I just don't think we would find that. But if we did, they wouldn't last long. True. They would be found out pretty fast. Like, they wouldn't click with the rest of the guys. Like, we're allowed to be like, the guys are allowed to be crazy as crap, and like, one of the guys in the team has an OnlyFans that we don't know anything about. Or, well, I don't. I don't know about anyone else on the team, but I don't. But like, we don't care. Like, it's fine. Go for it. Like, and if any client goes, I'm not going to work with you because Joni had a piss video, or such and such has got an OnlyFans, or this person's got this stupid thing on their TikTok. It's like, well, we're not going to work with you either. Like, we're not going to connect. That's how we are. You're a modern agency. Yeah. Like when we talk to, like, you should see the way we are with 1NZ. Like, when they're in the room, like, it's pretty messed up. Yeah. And Kimberly like works out of here a couple of days a week, but not even just that. Just all our other clients, like especially our personal brand clients, we can't really talk about them. But like, they're all chill. They're all chill. Yeah. They all know
They found
us.
you through TikTok, right?
That's
so they
or
love
LinkedIn.
The space. Yeah.
I'm no different on LinkedIn. I'm no different on my TikTok. People know I swear heaps. Like, people know we all are the way we are and crass, and we do dumb stuff. But they also know that like there's talent, and the guys they know we can deliver. Yeah. And so most of our clients are in that space. Like, they just want you to deliver. But in saying that, the main point that I think is here and is good for young creators is this curation of, let's make content that makes good ads just organically. Because like,
that is still content you enjoy making, so that you can be consistent with it. Yeah.
And how did you figure that out? Like tell me through that process. Like, how did you figure out that this was the content that was going to work?
Well, it all kind of aligned, right? Yeah. Because I was already, freelance gig that I had at uni was food content creation. And I'm like, every business that creates something with food needs content for their social media. Yeah. And so actually, kind of along the beginning, I always knew that I wanted to create an account, and I wanted to do videos for my friends and make recipe videos. So money aside, I knew I wanted to do that anyway. But then back in my mind, I was also thinking like, obviously there was no guarantee that I would start getting an audience. And so I was actually considering like, I could probably get that side hustle back up again, because UGC is becoming more and more trendy. Yeah. It's funny that they call it UGC, but it's basically just being a freelance videographer for a brand, and it looks like social media content. Yeah. And so I knew, I was like, I could do that. Like, I could set my profile up, have a couple of recipe videos, and then I might be able to start doing some outreach to brands, be like, hey, notice you haven't posted on your social media in a while. You're going to make some recipes with your product. Yeah. And I could send you the videos in Google Drive. Yeah. So that was one of my ideas that I had. Yeah.
Do you do that? Or you used to, or no, you don't really?
This is where I struggle with, because I still would love to do that. Yeah. But now I have this. Yeah. And I have an audience that brands would pay for. Yeah. And I'm like, because my face is in this, and with UGC trends, they'd probably also want your face to be in that too.
probably,
And I'm like, I feel like I've exhausted this face.
Yeah.
Now this face can only be Em's toes.
Well, and also they won't pay for the face as well.
Yeah.
On the UGC
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're only going to pay for the
And I
video.
only have so much time, but
Yeah. That's interesting.
I would, it would have
wonder
been
if,
interesting to do, but I never had to do outreach. That was
Yeah.
one of my ideas that I would do,
Yeah.
but yeah, never got around.
I wonder if just like, I wonder if you could do, you know, like Cooking with Babbage, like how you barely see his face at all. I mean, he's got that distinct voice, but like that style where your
I
face
probably
isn't in
could.
it. Yeah,
I probably
wonder
could.
if that is a style that you could do.
Yeah.
Because the UGC stuff, and especially in the way that you do it, there's heaps of work in that, in the food,
so much.
food
It's
space.
needed. Every business
Yeah.
needs social media now, and
Yeah.
so many businesses. I mean, that's why you started this, right? They don't know how to
Well,
do
especially
it.
in food.
Yeah.
Because food change, like it's something we buy every day,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it's like they need stupid amounts of content for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and that's another thing that led me down it. It's something that I consume every day, and it's not something that's going to cost me extra because I have to buy groceries anyway. So I was like, yes, that's a
love
good
it.
one.
Yeah, so
I don't have to become a fashion influencer and then spend my hard-earned money on like outfits all the time. I can
love
just
it. Spend it on money.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
food.
on
that you're
food.
gonna
I'm
eat-
like,
that
do
you're
that
gonna eat
anyway.
Especially if you, that is the cool thing if you're like getting paid to do an ad deal.
Yeah, I'm like groceries sorted. Yeah, nice.
Actually, on that, I don't know if anyone else cares about this, but like in your and stop me if you can't talk it too much, but in your contracts, does your price include the fee for buying the stuff, or do you add on the cost of goods?
Honestly, it really depends on the brand.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
interesting.
because
Some will send you stuff.
Some will say like send us the receipt
Yeah.
and we'll
Okay, cool.
reimburse you.
Sweet.
And some of them are like, just no, this is included in the fee. And I'm
cool.
like,
So
oh
it's just
sweet.
yeah.
Either way,
So you
I'm
don't
like,
have a
fine.
standard fee, you don't, and it doesn't really bother you.
Nah,
Yeah, because you're probably not. It's not like
I'm eating it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I just wondered that because that's an interesting thing, like cost on top.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
are you quite?
And when you start off as a content creator, like sometimes it costs to create content.
Are you pretty good now? Like talk about your like without getting into full details of money, like financially budgeting for production. Do you think about that much on how much it's going to cost to make a video? Like when you take on an ad or when you take on even just this, you just
It doesn't
kind of
cost
wing
much
it.
because it's just food most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And if it is a product, like for an ad, like
Yeah.
they'll send you the product.
What about
so.
your time? Do you cost your time out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I love
Yeah.
working out. Like
That's what I thought.
I hate writing down the exact hours it takes me to do something because I edit a little bit and then I do
But you
something
seem
else.
pretty
and then I edit
intuitive
back.
with knowing
But
stuff.
yeah, I do want to make sure that that's worth it
Yeah.
per the hours that I put in.
Yeah.
And then I do a little bit like I wonder. Obviously, with every ad that you do, like I want to be creating like pieces of content in between.
Yeah.
And that takes time as well, but it's fun, right? So it's like, it's all work in the end, but also I love editing videos and creating content. So I'm like, it's not bad, and it's a side hustle for me. So it's like,
what do you think of like? Do you ever think of like what your hourly rate as a content creator is? Do you ever think like that? Do you have an idea of how much your value is as an hour?
It really changes because each deal is different. So yeah.
But
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
it's definitely cool when you're like, I'm making more than my per hour than my day job.
Then your
Like
day
that's
job,
awesome. Right?
So you do consider it though.
I do consider it.
Because you know what?
I'm very much a budgets person if you can't tell also from my channel.
No,
so
I know.
always,
That's why I was asking you because like it's not a normal thing. Like I reckon only in this conversation that we've had, only probably Hannah probably thinks that way, eh? Like she's the only one that like thought about it budget. I mean, she's the same. She does budget content too.
Maybe Kate.
Yeah, maybe Kate too, eh? Yeah, actually, Kate does. Yeah, actually, Kate does. Yeah. That's only 3 out of like 18 or something.
Yeah.
That like think of it that way.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you're in like I know that like the hours it takes versus the cost of like how much you would get paid, that's important to consider.
Yeah.
And if you're very much lowballing yourself versus the time you put in, it's not the best.
No.
But if it's on top of your other stuff and you enjoy doing it, that's just extra income, right? Like
Exactly.
all the side hustles that I've done, and I've like done heaps because I'm a super creative person. So I'll do like things here and there for anyone who asks.
Yeah.
Some of them are not worth it per hour. And I'm like, it's extra money that I didn't get otherwise. And I'm saving for
If you're not
things
doing
like
something
I
else.
managed to buy a house. So like it all adds up. And
Yeah.
so if you've got time and you want to do it, why not?
Why not? And tell me about like other sort of side hustle stuff. Is it all creative things? Like just making people stuff.
I'm a
All
super
video?
No, I'm like, Yeah. As a person addicted to the internet and YouTube, I was in like so many different fandoms and cultures.
Yeah.
So I was like, I taught myself Photoshop, so I love design as well.
Cool.
And I bought myself like a Wacom tablet, so I did digital art, like back when that was like really like growing up.
Love it.
For like the books that I read or the TV shows, that was me in high school doing digital art, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could make money on this.
Yeah.
And then I saw all the talented artists charging like $5 per illustration. I was like, that doesn't seem like a good use of time.
It's crazy.
So I've done like little things here and there, but then I'm like in lockdown, I did some like commissions. I opened up commissions for illustrations, but I'm like, I can't do this when we're out of this, because it's not worth the time.
Nah, that's interesting. The reason why I want to ask is that there is only a few, and maybe Hannah, Kate, of people who budget really well, have a lot of side hustles, and like always they have the same response that you had. It's like, I had time, I could do it, why not do it? I get extra money. That attitude to the way things done, the way that you do things, is like quite an interesting
a lot of people wouldn't
style.
see that way, because it's eating away your own free time.
You know what? Actually, a lot of people don't. Like a lot of people don't even think like that. So there's like my version, which is like very much like, my time's worth this much. I better make this much money.
I want to work as little as possible, making as much money as possible.
Exactly. Mine's like, I want to work as much as possible making stupid money.
But
then there's people who are like you, which is like, I've got time, I can do it, I love doing it. So I'm just
it's all creative stuff. So it's not like
and you budget really well, and you know the value of money really well. But then there's the people who just like no direction, like they're just like, I'm just making shit and I'm hoping it works, and I hope it goes.
Like a lot of the time the biggest influencers, especially content creators in New Zealand, are just like really funny people, right, that have just fallen into this, and so it's understandable that they're not really like
thinking of it like that way, right? They're not, and it's not like you have to think of it like that way. There's not at all what it is, but like we bring up in this podcast a lot, they get to a point where, oh, well, I want to do it full time. Yeah. And I don't now know how to make that leap. And I think like if anyone's watching this, like I think you're a good example of, well, maybe you need to first start a separate channel or something else that is, because maybe the way you got blown up. But also if from the get-go, can you change that narrative really quick? Like I kind of had that same narrative with and I've been texting her later, Tere from Matakai Food.
Yes.
And I've said to her in a couple of messages back and forth, like her content's great because it is the same thing, but like she just struggles to know how to charge for it, and that's just her own self thing. But like,
I watched that episode too, and that was like when I was starting this, as you do when you tell people that you're starting an account, they'll give you millions of pieces of advice, or like my parents would tell me like, the video's too fast, slow it down, or like other people would be like, oh, you should start doing like restaurant reviews because like you can get free dinners and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but in order to do that, I have to spend money going out to restaurants every week, and I don't do that. And then then the cool thing is you get to invite all your friends out for like a free meal at a restaurant, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. But I'm like, I'd rather just do home cooking videos.
Yeah. You've got to build it up first, right? And that's expensive. And
I mean, there are. I love what you said. There are definitely should be restaurants that were willing to pay enough for food content, but they are also most of the time smaller businesses, right?
Exactly.
They don't have as large budgets.
They don't have as large budgets. There has to be some give and take with the smaller guys. I mean, there are plenty of restaurant groups who
in
who
Auckland,
can afford it, and they're actually the worst culprits for like giving the least, because they know they can. They got power and status and fine supply and demand. But I do think it's a really interesting way. So anyway, now that we've sort of gone through that, I thought that's quite interesting where you're at, because one, I like it's not really obvious that this isn't your thing. Like from my perspective, from an outside person, that this looks like your full gig kind of thing, you know? Okay. And which is cool.
With 20 something K followers, this looks like my full gig.
You know what? There's this lady that I met. Well, I've been introduced to, and I know her through. She has 7,000 followers. Yeah. And she makes about 300 grand.
Does she do UGC?
She does Macroactive. Okay. Do you know Macroactive?
No. So sounds familiar though.
Macroactive is this massive tech company in Kingsland. Okay. Outrageous. Yeah. They probably, I don't know, they're stupid big, 9-figure big company. no one knows them, but if you ever find like a meal plan app or a gym training app or any of that sort of stuff,
it's powered by them.
Probably powered by them.
Cool.
So she has like 7,000 or 9,000 followers.
Yeah.
All her recipes and stuff all live in this thing. She charges like $10, $20 a month to be a member. And so like makes this sort of content. And like that's like almost most of her users or her followers subscribe.
Cool.
And I thought that was a real cool one because like it is one of those things. I've bought small creators stuff like that before because I'm like, I know I could just watch it here. And I've probably done more in the fitness space. I know I could watch all your stuff here and get enough, but like when I'm at the gym and I need the thing, like I want it there, how I consume it. So I thought like there are people who can do, and yours could because you do recipes and stuff like that. So there are ways of monetizing that way where you could have like you don't seem like the type of person because you give it away to all your friends and stuff like that. So you're doing it a different way. I don't think it aligns with your values, right, to do it that way. But like you could have like a little thing which is like stupidly affordable that you could that people can subscribe to, and I have seen it. So anyway, it's interesting that you've got a whole career. So what I was going to ask next as we start to wrap this up, because I think we're almost at an hour, is what's the future? Like, what are you guys like? Are you real career driven? Are you real security driven? Or are you like, I really want this to be something?
I do love my career.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would give up on that to pursue it full time just because it is manageable part time.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with my account. Obviously the goal is more followers and more views at the end of the day, like creating better content to reach more Kiwis, because I do think a lot of my content is useful for a lot of Kiwis. And I do like, helping people budget and helping more people like cook meals at home and be more affordable is real cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if something that it's like itching at the back of my mind to do like next year. And I don't know, maybe you can give me some tips on this.
Yeah, please.
But expanding my niche.
Okay.
So this is my niche and it's great and I love it and I love creating content in it. But I'm like, I love all content.
Yeah.
Like, so I could do any type of niche, really.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm like, okay, if I did lifestyle. Thing is, I don't want to ruin this account with lifestyle content. I know the idea is that like you start off niche and then people start following you for you and then you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I do like the closeness of this account. And so I'm like, should I start another account?
Yeah.
Do I start a lifestyle account
And
where I just do me?
And that's what you want to do, lifestyle?
Why
lifestyle? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but why lifestyle?
Again, just because it's easy and it's cheap to start making content about your life. And I am getting kind of into the voiceover vlogs, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And
I kind of want to just try it.
From a creative outlet perspective, is that why you want to try it?
Well, it's because I can put anything into it.
Yeah.
So I can talk about other things that happen in my day. And like there's a lot of other interests and hobbies that I have that would be cool to share with people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like at the back of my mind, I'm like, you should just try it and see it. Yeah.
Just start it. I'm very much on like, I don't think there are really any rules. I think if you do anything well, you can make anything work. So I think 100% you could just start making lifestyle content, so that could work, right?
Yeah.
But because you don't want it and you like this, and I get that, like, there is like Peter McKinnon. Do you watch Peter McKinnon on YouTube, the photographer guy? So maybe 8 million, whatever. His content now I don't like because he shifted it. Yeah. It was very photography, learn how to do shooting and stuff. And he's gone real artsy, which is fine. Like it's cool stuff. It's not what I'm here for. Yeah. So I barely watch his channel anymore.
Has his views dropped or?
Yeah, like the one that went out just this week, I looked at it, it was like 85,000 views. And for him, he's like 8 million, So like it's way dropped. And that's fine.
Mind you, he's built the audience, so now he can just do whatever he wants and he'll still get
money.
Yeah.
But also he's because he has other business ventures that also do well, and he's fine. Yeah. He's not worried about money.
Yeah.
He sold the print that he did, which is this one picture he took, and I think he sold thousands of them at like $1,000 of each, right? So he's fine. But first of all, I get that having a channel that people follow for the niche is right, and changing it into lifestyle sometimes does. You piss some people off or whatever.
Also, I like having high views on my videos and like doing one video. Yeah,
dopamine hit.
Yeah, And so I'm like, I know that if I started doing lifestyle, they'll have lower views than the other content. And I'm just like, I'd rather that.
Yeah. So I get that. I think that there's nothing wrong with having multiple accounts on different niches if you can manage it.
Yeah. It's the managing of it that I'm just like, and also just like picking, because even with lifestyle, you got to pick your niche to start off with. And I'm like, oh, which aspect of my life do I pick and how do I go about that?
Yeah. Have you thought about doing lifestyle just on a different platform? Like do you just go onto YouTube and try it there?
I know that you talk about YouTube Shorts a lot, and I would love to.
Yeah.
But my content is so Kiwi focused, and that's been a big plus for me. Yeah. So because
no, but not so much taking this stuff, but like what if your lifestyle?
But even then, I feel like because I watched TikTokers from the get go, from the beginning of TikTok, and I remember thinking like, oh, I'm one of the few people that have TikTok downloaded, and then you'd see like the Sky Tower in a TikTok, and immediately you'd like it because you're like, it's a Kiwi, like you think you're getting all this content from America, and I feel like that's a big leverage just to have and just to be local, and that doesn't exactly work on YouTube because I don't think they have the same geo algorithm that pushes like local content to local people.
No,
that TikTok does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
because all my content goes to the US.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
They can't hire you. Oh, actually, they could hire you.
Oh yeah, no, we can. Yeah. I mean, one of the brand deals we did for Taz was Albania.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
so
It
doesn't matter.
Sweet. Let's get some US clients.
Yeah, and we do, right? Like we have US clients, and hence why we're going to push over there more this year. But on YouTube, what I was thinking for you is like, why you could like from a creative outlet perspective, could you go into landscape?
Yeah. I used to do landscape travel vlogs back in the day. Yeah.
Like maybe that's another one instead of having two TikToks to manage. Sorry.
Yeah.
The one thing about having multiple accounts, and if you were to expand into niches as time goes on, isn't so much about the content creation. That's not the issue. The issue is like the community management on them, because that changes, because they're not always the same people.
No.
They're not the same way. You have to think differently. You have to be swapping back and forth accounts. I know.
Oh, I'm a master of that though. Yeah, I do that for my job
No,
as
I
well.
know. But as you get more, and it does more, like the more you add to it.
Yeah, it's true.
The more it becomes. Like at the moment.
But I'm like, I respond to comments anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's fine. And so if that's not a
a
challenge for you, then it might be help. But that's like one of the biggest challenges we find is like, or especially me.
Yeah.
Is like, because they're very different. If you're doing a very different niche, then you got very different audiences. You speak very different. Like the way I speak to the guys on my personal TikTok to the way
this is on Attention Seeker.
Or the one that we speak.
Do you do comment replies on that account yourself? Okay.
Yeah. So I do. I do comment replies on Taz and mine, and then on the weekend I had to do some for 1NZ because the video went off and I got in trouble because But that's my problem, right? Because I'm not very good at switching 1NZ.
Yeah. Now you gotta speak in the tone of voice of 1NZ. Nice.
Exactly. So if you think you can manage that, then I would just do multiple accounts.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, and multiple accounts are cool. Like we do. We've got projects. I don't know, maybe 7. What do you reckon? How many of the internal projects accounts? Let's keep the satisfying accounts as 1.
Oh.
Because that's about 400. So they got that, Ponsonby Times, Taz, educational. Yeah, about 6 or 7 different full profiles.
At least that you manage.
Yeah, well, that will be like full-time projects, like Taz's. They're not fully all started. And then under the satisfying one, there's probably going to be like 21.
Oh yeah, there'll be like 20 plus.
So the only way we're doing that, I've had to tell Connor and the team, is like, we need to resource up. Like, what are the resources needed to do this? Because it's so hard to switch back and forth when you're doing completely different styles, and just the workload that comes with it.
Oh yeah.
But the reason we're doing that is because if you niche down in a thing, it's way better, way more successful, and that's for all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is. So I would definitely start a new one.
Cool.
And that's because you like.
I'll plan for it. Then that'll be my next year goal.
Yeah, like, do you watch Hogwarts? Do you watch Harry Potter?
Yeah.
So it's like the Sorting Hat, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want it, like they'll take into consideration what you want. So I always think of that. This is a stupid reference, but like I always bring Harry Potter references.
I like it. Yeah,
but it's like
if you want it, it'll happen.
If you want it, but if you want it, the rule is what you want.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter if it's better to make your lifestyle thing on this. Like you should take into consideration what do you actually want.
Yeah.
If your want is like misguided, that's a different thing. But at the end of the day, like you should be doing it, because if you don't do that, then you won't like it, and then you just screw it up. It just won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to that same question. Career driven then is a real thing. You love your career. You want to keep moving forward with that. Where do you see that career going? Like, is that just keep climbing the ranks in digital marketing?
Yeah. I mean, digital marketing is only growing like massively. And
Yeah.
so I feel quite secure in that career pathway choice that I've kind of fallen into.
Yeah.
And yeah, I enjoy it. I love training people as well.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, growing up had a couple of interns that I look after
cool.
and that's real fun. So
Yeah,
I do love teaching. I love learning
Yeah.
and like learning through my job and also learning through this
Yeah.
and then just like teaching
Giving
as
it
many
back.
people as possible like how to do
Yeah.
it, whether that's in my personal being friends
Yeah.
or at my job with
Yeah.
some
Do you have
direct
any
reports.
goals in the career? Like, not, it doesn't be specifics, but like, how far do you want to take that? Like, is that like you get into like CMO level
I mean, why not?
roles? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the
I,
goal.
don't, I mean, yeah.
It's interesting, like an ambitious.
I'm still kind of young, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely why not?
Yeah, you grow it to
Can do
that.
anything.
And then still run this all on the side.
I do like one of the things though is that I struggle with if I guess in a corporate ladder sense is that you can get further if you sidestep out of digital marketing.
Yeah.
The problem is I love digital marketing, so I kind of just want to
Yeah.
keep growing in digital marketing.
I reckon, because how old are you? Roughly?
25?
Yeah. So I reckon, you're super young. So I reckon that like your generation anyway, like the word digital marketing disappears.
Yeah.
And I don't even think of it like that anyway.
just gonna be marketing.
It's just marketing.
Yeah.
Because print marketing should just like it doesn't well, it's not that it goes away, but like print marketing has a place and it's less effective every day.
Yeah.
But it's always going to have a place because there are places to print stuff.
Yeah.
It'll
just be
always
in the
gonna be.
virtual reality now.
It's just going to adapt
On
and
Roblox,
change and-
a little billboard.
design and stuff. Exactly. We'll talk about that today with like AR ads, like how they're
Yeah.
going to appear and stuff like that. But the marketing world, I don't think you need to sidestep.
I was just thinking, like, you're walking down the road with your goggles on, and this ad just pops up.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that's what they think, right? Like
That's
the
nuts.
the conversation's
Gonna happen,
already
eh?
switched
Yeah.
with Vision Pro,
Yeah.
the Apple one.
Did you like research into Google Glass back in the
Oh,
day
yeah,
when
yeah.
that was coming out? I was such a nerd for Google Glass. I was so ready for it. And now that Apple Vision Pro is coming out, I'm like, this is exactly,
Oh my God.
finally a company's going to do it right.
But you know what? I don't know.
Yeah. Can't wait to start creating ads for people's vision. No, I'm kidding.
It's just driving and it just pops up. Fuck.
I don't think yet, and the investors would tell you the same if you watch the stock market of Apple that it's not a mass market product yet.
Yeah. No.
But
It's
also
exciting to dream about the future.
yeah, I just don't think they've got the use case right yet. Like,
Oh, no.
I don't think it's
They're like use cases. It'll be great for flights and you can watch movies and immerse yourself. Also, the battery life is 2 hours. But hey, it's early stages.
yeah, I think so.
It was
too.
a cool video.
I think so too. I love it. I think the AR world's really cool, and I'm real keen to see it go. I don't think it's really going to take off until it becomes small enough that it's small, tiny. It has to be. But
I think it's cool that we're living in this time though,
Yeah.
because literally like generation of growing up without internet to having internet, and we're towards the end of our lives, we're going to have VR. Like how amazing is that in like a time in history?
Yeah. You know, it's real funny. This is like it's the same with Ash. Like, you talking that way as a 25-year-old cracks me up because it's like, it's not the time we live in. You guys just lived in small towns. Like,
Okay.
we give Ash a
Yeah, I get it a lot.
Like, you're 25, like when you were.
No, I had dial-up internet. And
Yeah.
my friends did too, but I
Yeah,
just had it
same.
for a lot longer than the rest of my
that's
friends.
what I'm saying. So like when you were 10, so that was like, what was that, 2008 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
2013.
My math is, yeah.
No, oh, fuck, yeah.
I was born
2008.
1997.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah.
In 2008, I had already had like high-speed broadband.
Okay, cool.
You know, like no, because like
We get
But
it.
That's my response to him all the time.
Like,
when did
your
dial-up
internet
go
bill
away?
must have been high.
Dial-up went away when I was in Clark's Beach, so that was when I was 2002, 2003 is when we first got broadband. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just funny because we give Ash shit all the time.
Even me, though. I remember we used to get 2 gigabytes a month.
Yeah, that was me for a long
internet,
time as well.
And I wasn't allowed to watch YouTube. at
on
home.
on the farm, like we could only get dial-up, and then the stick internet came out, the USB stick. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
please let me plug it into my computer. And they were like, only for a short time. We need the internet stick.
That's so funny.
Dude, at my dad's mate's house, you had to run up a hill. Like, you couldn't even get it at the house. You had to run up a hill and, like, take a laptop, and there was, like, a connecty thing. Like, not even, it was just ridiculous.
That's
When
so
I went to
funny.
town, they're still around, but you know the telephone boxes that they converted into hotspots?
Yeah.
And they had like a limit of like either a gigabyte or 2 gigabytes a day. That was me. That was
love
me
that.
sitting
The telecom
sitting
boxes.
outside with my laptop or my phone,
Yeah.
like downloading videos.
I
take
was
home.
so like I realize now hearing some stories I was super privileged because I grew up in Manadewa, so it's like poor neighborhood, but Manadewa
But it's
Central
Auckland,
School,
yeah.
but it was Manadewa Central. So Manadewa Central is like in like it's a Decile 1 school or whatever, right? Like it's a real low school, but the old boys of that school have an endowment that they've done because they're all been super successful. And so Manadewa Central, like one of the poorest schools in the country, has this endowment fund that's outrageous. And I remember when I must have been 9. So, some time ago, 27
You don't have to
years
say the
ago.
number, yeah.
No, I was like 97 or something like that, 1997. We had like dial-up internet running stuff. Like we had computers everywhere. And so like we had computers.
Did you have
every
like the
single
computer,
class.
like the
Yeah,
laptop pods?
Not laptops because laptops
No,
were like way
it was
too
an IT
expensive.
suite, right?
Yeah, so we had like desktops, all desktop
Yeah.
PCs, all Pentium.
But it was just like one subject that you went to for it,
no,
right?
no. Every single classroom. No, because this is primary school. So you only
In
had
my
one class.
primary school, we had just an IT room, and if
yeah.
you were lucky, like once or twice a week,
Yeah.
you had that as a subject.
Bro, I don't even think we had a computer.
Yeah.
At your primary school?
Nah, I can't remember.
Really?
Nah.
Fuck. So I used to. This is
We
getting
just
way off
deferred.
Stan's planning topic right now, and Ash is getting pissed off at me. But
It's like, this is not on brand.
this is not on brand, and this is way over time. But I don't care.
Yes,
This is
yes,
clippable. When I was at primary school, I used to live up the road from primary school, so I was about 400 meters away, and I used to get up real early, get to school at 7 a.m. when the teachers would get there.
Yeah, nice.
So I could get the
the
computer
fun-
first,
yeah.
so I could play Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Have you ever played that
No,
game?
I haven't.
Oh, bro. Anyone who's watching this who knows it, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That is a throwback. It was like one of those games where it was like pictures
Yeah.
and like text would come up and be like, make a decision. Like where.
Oh.
And then you'd have to like pick the And then we got this other game, which was these boats, and you had to park the boats in the harbour.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played
you sure
that
you
one.
don't-
Sound pretty
No, I
high-tech.
played that one.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't the drinking game version? The ship came into the harbour? No. Okay.
I've
We
also
we
played
only
that one.
played math games at my school.
Yeah, then we had some math games. Yeah, no, we had these games, and the thing was is that like, the teachers let us do it because we're from Manadewa, so they're like, these kids want to be at school.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Oh,
So it was
yeah.
real cool. And then when I went to intermediate, in Form 2, so what's that? Year 8. Our class, we got a Game Boy emulator, and we all played Pokemon.
Emulator. How did you download that onto the computer?
Oh, floppy disks. Bring them in, put it on.
You were getting viruses onto the school computers.
Mate, it was so good.
That sounds epic.
Yeah, it was so good. Like that's how funny my childhood was, playing fucking emulated Pokemon, like bootlegged
That's so
Pokemon. It
cool.
was so good. I love that stuff. That's so funny geeking out about. We geeked out about this whole episode is just going to be like a mashup of geeking on tech. We should have just done a tech geek thing. Tell me, the last thing I want to ask you, just to piss off Ashley a little bit more, is what
his
is
passion in
what
life.
is your favorite fandom or top 3?
Oh, you can't ask me
Yeah,
that.
I have to. It's top. What do you need? Top
Okay,
5
but
or
like
top
for like
3?
in the history of my
Just
life,
yours, yeah.
or
just
man.
like okay. You can either choose history of your life.
Yeah, I'll do 3 for different stages of my life. Okay,
perfect.
starting off, first fandom is like book fandom.
Yeah.
So like reading books. Like it wasn't quite Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was actually Percy Jackson.
Oh yeah, Percy Jackson. Yeah,
That series,
Yeah.
and that's what really got me into
Yeah.
art. And I was like
closer
yeah,
to your generation.
just
too.
into that.
Yeah, a lot more people
Super.
in your generation with Percy Jackson.
Loved Greek
than ours.
mythology. Literally
Yeah.
did like yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many books in Percy Jackson series?
5 and
There's heaps,
10.
huh?
There's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
now.
yeah,
There's more now because there's side off spins.
Yeah,
But yeah.
cool. Percy
Anyway,
Jackson. Cool.
anyway,
Love
that.
it.
And then I was actually say the next one is YouTubers. So
Oh, okay,
like
cool.
just the era
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
the vlogging YouTubers, and
Yeah.
I'd follow like especially the British ones.
favorite
you know,
favorite
back in the day.
vloggers. Do I know them? 'Cause I didn't.
Oh, you won't. You won't. They're very much like they were
me a couple.
targeted at teen school
yeah,
girls. So like
I
Dan
know.
and Phil and like the UK
Oh, I know
vloggers
the
back
name.
in the
Yeah,
day.
but I don't, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know the teen girl targeted ones. So.
Yeah.
I know like
I mean, they played like Pokemon and like Sims games, but anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
And then currently, what was I going to say? Oh, K-pop.
oh yeah.
It's like a weird different side to
Yeah.
me, but I'm like
Yeah.
super into dance and K-pop.
Yeah.
So that's like
See,
the fandom that's taking
it
over my
was
life
her
right
other
now.
in social media, right? You
Huh?
got another social media that's K-pop. We got K-pop and
So I run the social media for my dance crew, which is a K-pop cover dance crew.
it was.
Yeah.
It's just like
You're
that's
right.
not her. That's not her. And I was like, oh, well, this
no.
looks the same name. But yeah.
No, I'll
K-pop
admit
is
it.
crazy. K-pop is crazy. I am not huge knowledgeable on K-pop, but so my best mate is Korean. When he went back to Korea, he had to get an English name. He took my name and he like rang me up. He's like, can I be Stanley? And I probably cried.
That's
Like it was like, no, he's like one
that's
of my
a cool
good
name.
mates.
That's cool.
I know him as Chang, but his name is Minbo Yang Chang. And he was like going to all his employers. They're like, no, you need an English name. He's like, yeah, my English name's Chang. Like everyone in Australia
That
knows
should
me
be
as Chang.
fine. Yeah.
And they're like, no, you need an English name. So he had to ring. He's like, he rings me out of the blue. He's like, bro,
so
I got a big favor to ask, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I love Korea. I've been there a
Yeah.
few times now and I went to his wedding. And, but where I'm right now with K-pop
Yeah.
is fucking Korean hip hop. So like, what's his name from BTS who went off?
Trigger?
Is it Trigger? Who then?
Yeah.
Oh,
August
is it
D. No? A rapper? Oh, J-Hope.
J-Hope.
J-Hope. Yeah.
These guys don't even know. They know all of J-Hope because I play him
Because you
so
play it?
much
Oh,
in this thing,
yo.
and I love the song J-Hope songs with J. Cole.
Yeah.
That song's
it's real cool.
And so I'm like on this like deep dive into
Yeah.
like Korean hip hop.
You're in like Korean hip hop. Yo.
Fuck, I know
It's some
so
good
much
stuff.
now. These guys don't even realize they are too because I play the playlist like every day. Connor hates it.
Oh, a lot of top 40 playlists have got K-pop in them.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
people will just listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just listen to they all think it's and they're always like they'll tell me after this music's so black and I'm like, yeah, it's Korean. Like,
Yeah, it's very much
these people
not.
aren't black. They're not black. These are Koreans. Cool. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for coming along. I really appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me.
see you next
It's
time.
been I've been a big fan of the podcast, so cool to be on it.
yeah, awesome. All right. Catch you soon.
Yeah, see ya.